Hello, Math 103 students, and welcome to section 4, chapter 4, real zeros. So many of you wonder, what do I mean by real zeros? Real zeros are really your x-intercepts or your solutions. So far in this class, we talked about quadratics, we talked about linear functions, we started briefly cubic and other functions, but really we talked about linear functions, y equals mx plus b, and quadratic, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c in depth. So really an example for this would be if you have a quadratic, and let's assume this intercept is -2, and this intercept is, let's say, 7. Okay, and if the parabola opens up, -2 is one of the zeros, and the other one is +7. So the equation for this in factor form would be y equals x. Now the question is this +2 or -2? And the answer is +2, because remember it was always the opposite, times x minus 7. Okay, and so when I ask you find the real zeros, it really means what are the x-intercepts. And how do you find x-intercepts? If I give you a problem, you could factor or you could use quadratic formula. Okay, so let's go to example number 1. Example number 1, I give you a graph, okay, and the question is, what are the real zeros, and write this in factor form. So if you look at the real zeros, there are the x-intercepts. This x-intercept is -1. This x-intercept is +1. And this x-intercept is +2. Okay, so if the real zero is -1, in the factor form, this will be x plus 1. Okay, this one is +1, so that will be x minus 1. And this real zero is +2, so this will be x minus 2. Okay, that's why the solution is over here. Okay, so the real zeros really they are x-intercepts or the solutions to the polynomial. Okay, example number 2. We actually know how to do this without even knowing chapter 4. We did this in chapter 3 before spring break. Okay, so this is your quadratic. This is a polynomial second degree, which is technically quadratic. So if you think about x squared minus 7x minus 18, you all know that this parabola will open up. Okay, you could find a vertex by doing negative b over 2a, but that's not the goal. The goal is, if I give you this standard form, ax squared plus bx minus plus c, what is the factor form? So in other words, this. Okay, now since a is equal to 1, the only way to get x squared, it will be x times x. Now think about -18. Okay, what are the factors of -18? Okay, so one has to be negative, one has to be positive, and it could be 1 times 18, 2 times 9, and 3 times 6. And probably, if you guess, it will be -9 times +2. Why -9 times +2? Because -9 times +2 is equal to -18, and -9 plus -2 is -7. So the factor form would be x minus 9 and x plus 2. I'm going to extend this a little bit. So the answer to the question is this, but I'm going to extend this and I'm going to show you a graph. What does this mean? If you graph this, okay, if you type this equation in TI-83 or Desmos, your graph will look like this. One of the intercepts will be +9, and the other one would be -2, and the parabola would open up because a is positive. Okay, now so the real zeros are 9 and -2, or you could say the x-intercepts. 9 comma 0, negative 2 comma 0. And the factor form is x minus 9 times quantity x plus 2. Okay? And example number 3 is a little bit more challenging. If you take a look at example number 3, you are noticing that it's not a quadratic anymore. Okay? It's a cubic third degree polynomial with a leading coefficient is equal to 1 and the degree is 3. So we did not learn in our class how to factor third degree polynomials, but last class we talked about synthetic division and long division. Okay, so first thing I want you to do is this. What is the value of A? What is the value of B? What is the value of C? And what is the value technically D? Like, what are the coefficients? So if you rewrite this in synthetic division form, you will get 1, negative 8, 11, and 20. And I am telling you that one of the factors, one of the zeros, is technically 4. Okay, so this means that this graph will cross x-axis somewhere negative 4. Actually positive 4, I apologize. This will be positive 4. But when you rewrite this, it would be x minus 4. Okay? Because if the real 0 is 4, you will have a factor x minus 4. So I can put 4 over here. Okay? And now let's think about what we learned in section 4.3, synthetic division. Okay, so 1, you bring it down, and 1 times 4 is equal to 4. Negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4, and negative 4 times 4 is negative 16. Okay, 11 plus negative 16 is negative 5, and negative 5 times 4 is negative 20, so your remainder is technically 0, and that's what I want. Okay, so this means that I have now 1x squared minus 4x minus 5. Okay, so my new my quadratic now is x squared minus 4x minus 5. So I have a question for you. Are we able to factor this quadratic? Yes, we can. Okay, if you think about this, this will be x times x, and think about the factors of think about the factors of negative 5. To get negative 5, it has to be 1 times 5, and 1 has to be negative, 1 has to be positive. So this will be x plus 1 and x minus 5, because if you distribute or FOIL, you will get x squared minus 4x minus 5. So what is the final answer to this problem? Okay, because the question was, write this crazy polynomial in complete factor form. So the final answer will be f of x is equal to, okay, x plus 1, x minus 5, and don't forget about this factor. The real 0 was 4, so the question is it going to be x plus 4 or x minus 4? And the answer is, it will be x minus 4. Now, if you want to check your answer, okay, please type this in your TI-83 the way it's over here, or we could also do, you could go to Desmos.com and type it, and believe me, you will get the same thing if you typed the original problem, okay, which is technically x cubed minus 8x squared plus 11x plus 20. So that's it for part 1. I'm going to make a video for the second part. Okay, so please watch it, and I will also post some YouTube video, Khan Academy video that will help you. So please watch this a few times, use the resources. Hopefully you can understand this. Thank you.